So what do you say in response to what happened tonight? Obviously the sermon on leadership from Korach and what happened with Moses, not necessarily fitting for this evening's events. But what is perhaps fitting is for us to simply contemplate the need for some of the readings that we had this evening. The idea that we in fact are all created in the image of God. The idea of the fact that we are all needing to honor that. The fact that there were protesters outside of the temple on Friday night saying horrific things, doing horrific things, tells me that there is a tremendous amount of anger in our community. Maybe they're not from Macon, I don't know. The same group has been seen and doing similar protests in the Atlanta area recently, and unfortunately, they came here. The first time, to my understanding, that there has in fact been an anti-Semitic act or something done in front of or to the congregation here. If we read anything and learned anything from most recent anti-Semitic events, which, as you know, have been unfortunately increasing across this country. If you look at the ADL, they are up 33% over the past couple of years. Tells me that we need to do more reaching out, more addressing anger that is found within other people, more addressing things like fear of the other, fear of what's different. Perhaps we need to do more outreach of education. Though at times I think when people get sucked down into the internet vortex that kind of captures their soul and it captures all of the things that they are thinking about and their thoughts aren't necessarily their own. And if you saw tonight, there was a sign of InfoWars on somebody's bullhorn. Of course, that gives us a clue as to what they may actually be thinking, or maybe more precisely, where those thoughts originated from. It also tells me that as a society, we can do more. We can, in fact, do better. We must. What does that mean for us as Jews? I'm sure you all have had your own moments where you have had anti-Semitic events happen in your own lives. Something unfortunate that I can say is common amongst Jews. If you were to be asked, did you experience something? I've almost never been in a room where there's Jewish people and the answer was no. Everybody usually says yes and shares one story, something from childhood, somebody said some offhand comment, maybe they were excluded at work in some form or fashion. And yet, when also you're with Jews, the opposite is equally true. Maybe they made sure to have beef brisket at a barbecue, knowing that you were the Jew around, and they wanted to make sure you could eat. Maybe there was an understanding of looking at the calendar that maybe we shouldn't do an interfaith meeting on Yom Kippur. That may be exclusionary to our Jewish friends. Maybe there's understandings, and there have been, that we have friends from other congregations come over and pray with us to let us know we're not alone. And the recognition that, in fact, we are not alone goes beyond just friends. We're not alone in Macon anyway. We're part of a larger community. That's why people from the URJ reached out. The entire movement was concerned. That's why somebody from the Secure Communities Network reached out. Because, well, we're not alone. It's not as if we're singularly present and there's some anti-Semitic act happening. We are part of a much larger group of people who have, in fact, faced anti-Semitism. And there's that wonderful, horrible saying, and I say it both wonderfully and horrible, they came, they tried to kill us, we survived, let's eat. But they did, in fact, come to bother us. We're still here praying together, and afterwards we're gonna eat. So we'll definitely make some light of it because we wouldn't want to have and give it too much airtime. Though I'm sure for some of you, this is deeply upsetting and deeply triggering. And I just want to say, if you need me, I'm here. Call, reach out. If you need and want to talk amongst yourselves about it, absolutely. We'll do that at the Oneg and we can schmooze, and I will definitely stick around a little bit later tonight because it's upsetting. It's scary. What does it mean that in Corleyville, Texas, something can happen? What does it mean in Macon, Georgia, that something can happen? What does it mean that in small towns across this country, anti-Semitism is happening? It's an awakening bell. It's a canary in the coal mine, according to Deborah Lipstadt, when she talks about anti-Semitism. And she points to historical patterns, that it's not just the Jews who are affected. Usually it's the Jews first, hence the canary in the coal mine. But it never stops there. The hate doesn't stop. And with that, I will say it was also our mayor, Lester Miller, who helped shut down the protests. And thanks to Mike Kaplan, who reached out to him specifically and personally to make sure that he was fully aware of what was happening here. We are certainly not alone. And I want to thank our political leaders, the Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Davies, who, when I texted him, texted back right away that he would send police. And also thank you, Aaron Miller, who's out there making sure that we're gonna all get into our cars safely tonight so we can all get home safely and we can come back here next week and pray together and have food together and laugh, because next week's a potluck. Thanks, Marlene, for helping organize that. And enjoy each other's company, because after all, that's what we're here to do. Shabbat shalom.